They feel like completely different keyboards.
Okay. This is the Ajaz AKA20, and in my last video, I called it the best keyboard under $40, and I'm going to upgrade it with less than $20. But I also said it was still worth buying the Pro version, which sits around $60. It's got the same case, the same layout, with obvious differences. There's no screen or wireless connectivity. But the reality, the cheaper version is actually missing a bunch of sneaky stuff. And they sound surprisingly different too, because while it's not perfect out of the box, it actually has a ton of potential. So to put it to the test, I'm going to do a few cheap mods to see just how good it can get. Then it'll go head to head with more expensive boards like the Pro version or the Aula F75 in a blind sound test to determine if it's worth modding a cheap keyboard or springing for something more expensive. And if you've never modded a keyboard before, don't worry, it's not that hard or expensive. In fact, the mods I'm doing today, you can find most of the materials at your local hardware store or even in your garage. They take about an hour total, cost under $20, and completely transform how this keyboard sounds and feels. And the best part, you don't need to be a soldering wizard or even a keyboard nerd to do it. So let's see what happens when we take a $39 keyboard and try to make it sound way more expensive. Now, before you go and do this to all of your budget keyboards, not every cheap keyboard is worth modding. Some have non-detachable cables, soldered in switches, or a design that's impossible to work with. But this one, it's the perfect modding specimen. The Ajaz AKA20 comes with hot swap sockets, so you can easily remove the switches without any soldering. This will make it super easy to take apart. It also has a gasket mount, which is wild at this price point. That's the same flexible mounting style you'll find on premium custom keyboards. So it's already off to a great starting point. And even the stabilizers are shockingly decent right out of the box. Ajaz goes as far to even pre-lube them. The switches are also already lubed, so we don't have to waste hours and hours opening them to lube them like we used to in the dark ages. So clearly we've got a solid foundation, but we can make it better, a lot better. Now, as we found in the last video, it does sound kind of hollow. It's not the worst, but it's a little plasticky, a little rattly, and definitely not thocky, which is our goal. And let's change that. So with our limited budget, the mods that we pick are going to matter a lot. We're gonna need to go shopping. Let's take a trip to Home Depot. Alright, I just made it to the Home Depot, and the reason I'm doing Home Depot is because they have a lot more affordable prices than the other hardware store, which is Lowe's. So let's get in and let's shop around with our $20. We're in the moving aisle with a lot of bubble wrap and foam, so I'm gonna look for some foam first and see what budget options we can find. We've got bubble wrap here. This is a bubble cushion roll for $10 each. Looks a little thick, plus I'm sure I can find bubble wrap at home anyways. Alright, I've hit the mother load of blue tape, so I'm just gonna buy the cheapest roll that I could find. $3.98, super budget. They even have a $2.98 version, but oh wait, they have it, so that's what we're gonna get. The $2.98 version, super cheap. We've got the grease aisle. This one seems reasonable here, the white lithium grease. I've used that one before, I don't love it. I want dielectric grease, so if I can find that, that'd be great. But white lithium is $7.98, so pretty affordable. I'm gonna walk around a little bit more and see what else I can find. Okay, I've walked everywhere and I think we're only going with that lithium grease and that tape. So all together, it's like $10, and I'll probably find some PE foam and stuff at home and see what I can find in the garage, since it's better than spending money. All right, so walking out of Home Depot, on second thought, I think it really is better if I search the garage better than buying here, because I'm sure I have a lot of these supplies I'm looking for anyway. So I'm gonna head home and go digging. Turns out I did have some blue tape lying around and some keyboard lube from a couple years ago. Now there is one thing that I'd like to order online since I don't live close to any keyboard shops, and that's keycaps. Keycaps can completely make or break a keyboard, as we saw in the last AJAZ video. The Pro version and the normal version are basically the same, but the keycaps completely change the sound. Now the hard part is finding keycaps that cost only $10. Surprisingly though, I was able to find a set that was 50% off by XVX, which were exactly $10. I'm curious to see how they turn out. They have an interesting design, and hopefully it sounds better. We're back home. I've checked the garage for all the stuff. I've went to Home Depot, and I've bought keycaps off of Amazon. So we've got everything here, and we're ready to start modding. We've got a sheet of PE foam that I dug out of a packaging box. We've got the blue tape I dug out of the garage. Everyone probably has a thing of blue tape in your home, so make sure you look before you go buy it. And some keyboard lube, which I doubt you have laying around in your garage, but you might have some lithium grease or some dielectric grease, both of which are pretty cheap at the hardware store or the auto store. And $10 keycaps that I got 50% off from Amazon. And now, let the modding begin! So the first mod is one of the easiest mods that have the biggest bang for your buck, and it's legendary in the keyboard community. It's called the Tape mod. It's also known as the Tempest mod. It's a simple mod where you put a piece of tape or layers of tape on the back of your keyboard PCB, and it probably doesn't sound like it would do anything, but it can totally transform the sound your keyboard makes. Now you might be worried that it's not safe putting tape on your keyboard, which, let's be honest, it isn't if your keyboard has a battery. You might start a fire, which I accidentally did one time, so I don't recommend it. But the AJAZ doesn't come with a battery, so you should be fine. So to do this mod, all you need is painter's tape, the blue tape. Our other tape works too. You can use electrical tape, gaffer's tape, paper tape, etc. Just don't use duct tape because it's too sticky to tape off and it can tear off your hot swap sockets. Now because this board is all plastic, opening the case was a bit of a struggle. The clips are tight and there's no screws. I had to pry it open with a little bit of keyboard surgery, but don't worry, the patient will survive. But once you get it open, you'll see the back of the PCB, and that's where the magic happens. You just add 2 or 3 layers of tape to the back, covering as much of it as possible, and this dampens vibrations and gives the keyboard a deeper, more refined sound when you type. It's actually awesome. This became ultra viral about 3 years ago when a creator named Near Lucid made a video explaining the Tempest mod, and it went pretty big. Since then, it's been done on countless budget keyboards around the world. But while we have the case open, let's go to the next mod. The next mod is going to make our keyboard completely change its sound from a little clacky to poppy and, more importantly, creamy. Ugh, hate using that word, but it's what it is. It uses a thin sheet of plastic called PE foam, which you can find in product packaging. This one is called, obviously, the PE foam mod. It's a bit more work, but it's still cheap and easy. This mod became popular after a custom premium board called the Jelly Epoch inserted a layer of PE foam in their keyboard, and now it's used on most keyboards. I got some packing foam a while back to pack up fragile dishes and stuff. It was $10 new if you want to pick it up on Amazon, and it makes a huge difference to the acoustics. The whole process takes about 10 to 15 minutes total. Basically, you take off all the keycaps and switches. You basically take the keyboard apart and put this foam layer on the PCB, and they put everything back together. But while I had the keyboard open, I noticed something. Higher end boards like the Aula F75 or the AK820 Pro come with at least 4 layers of dampening foam. But the AJAZ normal version, it actually had a ton too. There's silicone on the bottom case, a thin layer of foam that looks like it might not do anything, and in between the plate and PCB is a PET sheet, a PE sheet, a plate foam, and it's really not bad. But we're doing this anyway, so we're gonna double it up with the included PE sheet and my PE foam and see what happens. But what do we have here? There's some gaps of space in the bottom case, and we can definitely fix that with a mod that sounds ridiculous but really works. I didn't actually buy the materials or even think about doing this until I opened up the case, and I knew that I needed to try it. A few years back, someone went viral for achieving the best blocky keyboard ever using a t-shirt. So that's what we're doing. I grabbed one of Hallie's shirts that she grew out of and cut it into strips and just stuffed it into the bottom of the case, and boom, you've got DIY case foam. So I was overzealous and I tried 2 layers, but alas, it was too much. So I took one out, put everything back in, and it actually closed. So there is a ton of stuff in this keyboard. I even filled the space where the battery's supposed to go with some leftover packing foam. So there's everything the keyboard came with and then more. And it fits perfectly. It's surprisingly dense now. So why do these random mods actually work on a keyboard? It sounds like I'm just stuffing stuff in it, right? But it's like acoustic treatment. The tape adds dampening to the PCB, the foam fills up space to stop more echo, and thicker keycaps absorb some higher frequencies. So you're basically tuning the whole keyboard like it's an instrument, but it's a nerdy instrument. Now in my last video, some of you really hated the die Ajazz keycaps. That's fair, because I did too. They really cut corners with the keycaps there. It made the keyboard sound so hollow and it just looked off. So I picked up these XVX Jelly Wave keycaps for about $10 and they're a little flashy, but I sort of love the look of the texture on top. It'll probably look great with RGB too. So the Jelly Wave, you don't actually feel it. It's underneath the top of the keycap, even though it looks like it'll be bumpy. So these keycaps are a bit thicker, so I'm hoping it will lower the pitch of the keyboard a bit. And they look nice, so I can't wait to see what it sounds like. Now the stock stabilizers in the keyboard weren't bad. They're very good. They were surprisingly very little rattle for the budget board. But since we're already here, I figured I might as well hit them with a little lube using a syringe. Using dielectric grease, you can do the same thing, but since I already have Krytox in a syringe, I'll just do that really quickly. So it's better to do less in the beginning and then add more if you think it needs more. You can't remove it, but you can add it. So let's talk results. I'm gonna have Jake come in here and try out the 3 keyboards and tell me which one is best. And then I'll give you the blind sound test. So can you tell which is which? Because honestly, I was surprised by how close it got. So this is Jake and I'm blindfolding him because he's going to determine which keyboard is the winner.
Which one will it be?
So you got 3 keyboards in front of you. And you can decide which one you want to test first.
Eeny, meeny, miny, this one.
Okay.
All right, it's not bad. It's got some thought to it. Not bad at all. All right, I got my baseline now. Try this one next. Ooh, this one feels smooth.
Smooth, huh?
Yeah, it feels like glass.
What do you think of that space bar?
That space bar is really nice. All right. I like it feels really bouncy too. Like ultra bouncy compared to this one. This one feels more like dead when I press on it, but this one's like.
Does it feel like they're different keyboards?
Are they not? They feel like completely different keyboards.
Oh, okay.
This one just feels completely different, yeah. It's not bad.
If you had to eliminate one, which one would you get rid of?
One of these 2.
But which one?
Ooh, this one has a better space bar. I don't know, they're both pretty good, but I'll say this one.
Okay, we'll get rid of this one, and that leaves 2 contenders.
2 contenders.
Who will be the real winner?
Okay. Here's my line of thinking, alright? This one I feel like objectively sounds better. I'm not sure about the feel, or the feel of the keycaps. They're sort of weird that it's like
They're slippery.
It's not bad to type on, it's just a little strange. But I think it sounds better. However, I wouldn't want you to use this in the same room as me. So if I had to choose one, it would be this one for me and that one for you, because they're both pretty loud though. But
yeah, they're both pretty loud.
This one would be a lot of fun to use if there's no one bothering you, or like you didn't have to worry about other people around you. But oh, it's nice.
It's a little loud.
Oh yeah, it's way louder. It's like sharp, like it cuts through more.
Mm.
But it sounds like it sounds good though. Yeah, they're
so
both
you
really good.
deem this one the winner, the one on the left.
Yeah, purely based off of sound and feel and not how annoying it would be.
Okay. If you're interested in other budget keyboards, check out this video where I take a look at the best ones out right now. Bye.